Hello, Gabi.
Hello, Julia. How
So,
are you?
fine, and you?
I'm good. I miss my racing.
Where are you?
I'm at home in my kitchen. The doors are open. You can see, wait, you can see the garden behind us. It's very beautiful.
Yes, nice.
The spring has been one of the most beautiful springs.
So, Gabi, now let's talk about motorsport. First question: what is the source of your passion for racing car?
Oh, the source of my passion well, the source would be my heart, and my soul, my stomach, and everything. But I'm an industrial designer, and I studied car design as well. And I've always loved cars, but that doesn't automatically mean you like racing as well, because racing actually can destroy cars. But when I started, I bought my first old car when I was 20 years ago, when I was 30. And I started doing rallying with it, which was a bit boring. And somebody told me, no, you must do racing. And then I started racing with the same 911 because it's a great car. You can go on a racetrack, you can go on the road, it can do everything. And it was really a wonderful car to start with that. And I started in 2007. And in 2008, I did the first time Le Mans Classic. It was my first race, you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
It was so exciting that I couldn't sleep for 48 hours. I couldn't sleep, but it was something which was almost too much for me at the time then. And I told myself, which I've never done in my life because I'm not a patient person, this is very exciting, but give yourself 2 years to train it, to do some races, to see whether you like it, you have a talent, and you actually want to do it. And this is what I did. I took a coach, Gabriele von Oppenheim, for 2 years, and we did a couple of little races. And in 2010, when I went back to Le Mans, I remembered I told myself, I said, so here we are 2 years later, is this really what you want to do? And I think by now, racing is the only thing I want to do in my life. As Steve McQueen says, everything else is just waiting, because it's such an intense experience with a car. I used to like the cars from the outside because of the shape and the form, and I still do. But now I also like the cars from the inside. I actually understand what's happening when you go into a turn. You can, when you feel the wheel, when you feel the road, it's just such an incredible sensation, and you're so one with the machine that I used to only like from the outside. So now it's inside and an outside thing.
As you said, you are an industrial designer, and you have also studied history of art at the University of London. Do you consider the classic car design as a form of art?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that you have to distinguish between art and applied arts. Art is something you put on the wall, which is sculpture, but applied arts and design is something that started to split from the art world at the beginning of the century, when Bauhaus and everything started. And it's really, I think it's very dangerous to say cars are art, but if we consider the expression art and applied arts, I think that the most important piece of applied art, of design of the 20th century, you walk into a design museum and you see a chair and you see a radio and you see a television, but you don't really see many cars. Obviously, that was very difficult to exhibit. But if you think about how many people worked on a car, what the car has done for especially Europe in the 20th century, you and you are French, I'm German. 1945, you would have shot me and I probably would have shot you. But in 1952, we could already, you were the Deux Chevaux and we were the Beetle, and the English people were the Mini, and the Italians were the Cinquecento. We could suddenly, there were little living rooms that brought us into other countries. Well, the television was something that brought the other world into your living room, but the car was really something that transported you and your family into another country, into France, and we Germans could see what wonderful people you were. You were considered to be arrogant, but I've never experienced that. I love the French, and I think they're humorous, they have this fantastic food, they drink champagne, they eat cheese. How fantastic for us Germans to experience that and to loosen up a bit. And I think that's something the car has done. It has really contributed to Europe majorly by enabling us to cross the borders. And so it's I think there's a great sociological aspect to the car, but also design-wise, there's nothing more important than the car in the 20th century.
Gabi, we are talking about art. BMW is very famous in Le Mans history for its art cars. What do you think about this kind of art?
I like the art cars very much. I mean, it's in a way, it's probably wrong to use a great, let's say, CSL, to use it as a screen. But what I like about that, and also in the whole Porsche liveries, it's very un-German because it's suddenly bringing in a very playful element. Mm-hmm. You know, the Germans are very serious about cars, and suddenly we have these CSL, and we have wall painting them, and Stella, and the Kuhn's car is fantastic because it's really intellectually debating what speed would look like. Like it's in a way like the Italian futurist. You know, what is speed? What does speed look like? And so I like them very much because they loosen up this seriousness of the German way of showing cars.
You were at every edition of Chantilly Art et Elegance Richard Mille as a member of the jury. Can you explain us what was your role exactly, how it works?
Yes, I'm as an industrial designer, and also I write for German Car magazine. I was in the jury, lucky me, and as a jury, I mean that you actually have a lot of work during that day. You get to see the most beautiful car event in the world, get to eat the best food, but yes, and champagne, which I love. Mm-hmm. But you actually have to. With a small group of the jury is quite large. Mm-hmm. I think it's 30 people or something, and you get one group of cars, and I was extremely lucky because I think it was my first year I got to judge all the Maserati cars. Mm-hmm. With Alfieri Maserati and someone else. And you get this catalog, and you need to really look at the cars and ask, what's the history? What part is original? It's really quite strict. It's really hard work. You cannot just go and say, oh, I like this car, and I dislike this car, and I don't think this is real. You really have to understand why this car was special in its history, and why was it so outstanding, and why is this example that you're looking at so amazing. It's I don't know what. And you learn so much about the cars, and you get a really different feeling. I mean, I personally think the best way to see a car is to see it driven, to hear it, to see it driven, to be in another car next to it, and to see what the car does with the movement. I think that's the best way. But in the jury, usually it's the three of us, and there's always someone who knows something that somebody else doesn't know. Mm-hmm. So it's a very rewarding process. You get to see the most amazing cars. You get to talk to the owners.
You can ask questions to the owners when you are a member of the jury? Yes. What kind of question you ask?
So what's the history of the car? Usually we don't really need to ask so many questions because the owners usually have a big book and they talk and talk and talk and talk. And usually we have to say, stop, we need to see some other cars as well. But we see how original is it. What has he done with the car? For example, I mean, I like racing cars, so we asked about the racing history. And last year, I had quite a recent group of cars, and that was very nice because that's something I don't know so much. But you had they still had the racing suits of the original pilots. They had the helmets, they had all the accessories, and that was really wonderful because you really get to see something which is already historic, but still in my childhood, I still remember seeing all these things, and it gives a different perspective. I think you need to ask the owner also quite a lot of technical questions, but usually there's somebody else doing that, and usually it's written. You get a big book, and you should really inform yourself. What you must never ask the owner, say, is your car real or not? It's not very kind.
And so, according to you, what is the most beautiful car ever?
The Ferrari P3.
And why?
Wait, I saw it. Look, I can tell you exactly because in my first race at Limo Classic 2008, I was in a 2.5 ST Porsche, and I was on the Mosan Strait at dusk, and suddenly there was this red thing going. And it was the most beautiful thing with the most. You cannot imagine what this car looks like when it moves. It's absolutely. It's like Brigitte Bardot dancing in front of you naked, and she's still young. It's absolutely. It's erotic. The movement is beautiful. The sound is beautiful, and I think I'm very privileged because I actually have seen this car moving was I was moving. It's different. You know, when a car moves past you, you see this, but when you go parallel a bit, you really see what the movement does. So this car forever will be my most beautiful car.
Did you see the movie Ford Ferrari?
Yes, I think visually there were some scenes where I was just breathtaking visually. I think it's a fantastic movie. And I personally think they should do a movie like this every year.
And so, as you said, you are a racing driver. How did you learn the art of driving?
Oh, it's not so long. I'm an amateur. I mean, we are all amateurs. I know many people will not like to hear this, but we are all amateurs. And I started, yes, when I was, hang on. Actually, really, probably thinking I was 40. So I only started 12 years ago.
Did you take some lessons?
Yes. I had Claudia Hürtgen, who was a works driver for BMW. And I took lessons from her. And I think in the beginning it was catastrophic for her, not for me. And because I live in Cologne, all this is very close to Nürburgring, which is the most famous, legendary track in the world. And we would meet every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning and do 8 laps on Nürburgring and then come back. And the whole weekend was great for me. But she was a really amazing coach because she had a great sense of humor, a great sense of patience. And she also told me that I was talented. You know, she was very encouraging. We do a lot of races still together, sometimes, especially here in Germany on Nürburgring. And we will be doing one next year together, which is 1,000 kilometers of Nürburgring. It's a historic race, which they're now reviving. And that's for the first time we will do it as historic races, and I'm very excited. Let's see about that. But I think, everybody thinks that they're very good drivers, but racing is really something you must learn and you must practice. And I'm really worried now because nobody has driven for so many months. The first time on the track, it will be really difficult.
Gaby, you were at 10th edition of the Tour Auto Optique 2000. What do you like in this race?
Oh, why? How much time have you got? Do we have 15 hours? Okay, what I like, I can tell you what I like as a German. I think for me it's such a wonderful way to see another country. Because every year it has a different route. I probably have seen so much of more France than I've seen of Germany. It's really it's a wonderful way of seeing a country because the people on the road waving at you. They make you feel welcome. Then I really love spending 15 to 17 hours in the car. I know it sounds strange and a lot of people don't like it, but I don't like getting up early. It's the only time I get up early for the tour. But then you sit in the car from 7 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, and I love it. I drive an old Porsche in the Tour, and there's something funny about the old Porsches. They start smelling really beautifully at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know why. When you are tired, as a racer, suddenly this smell comes in, and it's wonderful. I love the excitement of the races. By now, I hate the special stages, because once I came off, but it's part of it, so I still have to do it. I love the countryside in France because the country is so vast. You see so many different landscapes. And of course, I love the champagne. I love the food. I love you French people because everybody there is so nice. I love my French friends. Yes, I have French friends as a German, and my French is still catastrophic. I like the sense of humor. I like the sense of everybody together. I like the fact that after 7 days I have black fingernails. I like the fact that I can wear my race suit for 5 days and I don't have to think about what I wear. I love the sense of adventure. For me, I also love the exhaustion. Sometimes 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you get wonderful food to eat, but you don't actually have a lot of time for lunch. Half an hour, by the way. Hello to Patrick. Half an hour is not a lot of time to eat. And then you have a race afterwards, and then you need to get some petrol, and sometimes you don't have enough time, and it's really, really, really exhausting. But I love the exhaustion. It's really the greatest road adventure you can have in Europe. Only, I think, 2 weeks, not 1 week.
Maybe it will happen. We don't know. Gabi, when I was preparing this interview, I discovered you were 2 times on the entry list of the Tour Auto Optique 2000 under the pseudonym of Gabriele Spangenberg.
Yeah.
Can you explain why?
Because in 2010, I started. We have a really quite aggressive press here in Germany, especially my family used to have it. And I was really worried that they would start writing about this old woman with all her Porsches. And I started a blog on the internet about food and cars.
Yes.
And it was called Meals and Wheels. And I didn't want to do it under my real name. And there is, Michel Vaillant.
Yes.
The cartoon. In Michel Vaillant, you have a German lady who is called Gabriele Spangenberg. And she is a race driver in there. She's allowed to participate in the races. And sometimes she's even allowed to drive the trucks of the Vaillant team. And it's like Gabriele Spangenberg is like my name. My first name is Gabriele. And Oppenheim and Spangenberg are almost the same. So I decided to write under the pseudonym Gabriele Spangenberg. And I think it's pretty great pseudonym.
Yes, it's funny. You rest all your Toronto with a Porsche 911. Why this car?
Because it's I think the chances of finishing are highest in this car. I don't want to start the Tour with a car where chances are that I don't finish. I love this race so much. I think chances of winning in a Porsche 911 are zero. But it doesn't really matter because it's, I want to finish the race. And I know in the old 911 I can finish the race, and I love this car. And I said, for me, it's the best smelling. And I think it's the best car for me. I think I'm just a 2-liter engine person. Almost all my cars have 2 liters, and the cars I love best have 2 liters. A big Cobra is not a car for me. A GT40 is not a car for me. I have a BMW 2002, but that wouldn't be in the group. And I think now it's also in this 911 group, we have such wonderful competitors. There's my cousin in there, there's the panelists are there. It's really nice to do it in the Porsche because it's an easy car, it's reliable. Usually if there's something wrong, the mechanics can fix it.
Yeah.
And my car has a heating, and sometimes in April it can snow, and I don't get cold feet.
You also drive this Porsche 911 in the 2-liter cup, which is the only Peter Otto single make grid. What is the secret to be fast with this car?
It's very difficult because I think my car is not so quick I love the 2-liter series because it's like lots of racing beetles moving the whole time. It's really, really wonderful also to watch for any spectator. I think it's one of the greatest races to watch. It's a bit difficult with our car because our car is very robust. It's built to last for the Tour Auto. To be on the road. It has 2 seats. It has the lights in front. It's quite heavy. It's not the ideal car for the 2-liter cup because the 2-liter cups are really, they're really racing cars. The engines are really finely tuned. No. So I think with the 2-liter, I probably would need a different 911, but I still participate because I think it's such a great race series. I think everybody's a little worried about the technical, all the cars are the speed is so different between, I don't want to get into this discussion, and I really hope, it's really a shame for this year because it didn't really happen, the 2-liter cup, but I hope next year it will happen, and I really want to participate. But I think we need to do something about our car. Mark, the Zintal needs to do something about our car, so it's actually a little bit more competitive. Or I have to decide between a Tour car and a 2-liter. We see, but it's definitely something I want to do because the cars are so beautiful and they have all different colors. And when you see them all, and 911, they do this, and when you're behind another at 911 and it does this, it's like a tango on the tarmac.
Yeah. You are at Le Mans Classic event since 2008 and you drove many different cars: Porsche 911, AC Bristol, Oscar 2000, Alpine 210. Which one was the best for this very special track?
I think it's my Alpine A210. Obviously it's a prototype built for Le Mans. It's a very light car. It has these long, elegant fins on the straight. I think that's obviously. It's a car built for the track. It's a legendary track. This car it's great to drive this car. It feels a great honor for me to own such a French icon.
And do you like to drive in the darkness?
I hate it.
Why?
I hate it. I hate it because I don't see, and also because my car the Alpine has a very small engine, and when a 917 Porsche overtakes you, it's very quick. We get overtaken quite often at Le Mans Classic, and we get blinded by the lights from the cars coming from behind. And I sit very low, so the light shines straight into my mirror, and I get blinded and I don't see. So at night, I hate it. I'm so scared. The training usually I do, and if we have times in the darkness, I let my co-pilots do it. I do all the day driving, or I really love driving at dusk or in the morning when the sun rises. Twice I've had the privilege to see the sun rise in the Dunlop curve. That was incredible. But at night, oh my God, I hate it.
And this is my last question. What will be your next event?
I think my next event will be one race here in Nürburgring, but the event I'm really looking forward to now, obviously, is the Tour in September.
So now, Gabi, it's time to say goodbye and see you at the end of August for the start of the Tour Auto.
Yes, hopefully, yes. Thank you, Julian.
So, see you there.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Julian.